So let me ask you something. Is your supply chain running through a system that gives you accurate data and a clear picture of it? Or are your people chasing spreadsheets, emails, inventory counts, vendor updates, and shipping questions all day long? Because if your people are the only thing holding purchasing, inventory, order fulfillment, and shipping together, you don't have an operational problem. You have a business risk. And that risk usually shows up quietly at first. A customer order gets delayed. Someone orders too much of one item, but not enough of another. The warehouse says the inventory's there, but it's not. Purchasing doesn't know what sales has promised. Sales doesn't know what purchasing can actually get. Finance doesn't trust the numbers. And leadership is left to ask a familiar question. Do we need a better system, or do we just need people to follow the process? The answer is usually both.
Welcome to End Business Tech Frustration, the podcast for small and mid-sized business leaders and entrepreneurs who are struggling with technology that is not meeting their business needs. I'm Jim Kineon, and for more than 35 years, I've helped businesses fix their tech, align their people and processes, and implement systems that actually work. In each episode, I break down real stories, practical strategies, and simple frameworks that help you choose the right tools, roll them out the right way, and build a business that runs smoothly. If your technology isn't supporting your business and delivering the results that you need, you're in the right place. Let's get started.
Today, we are talking about supply chain management software, often known as SCM software. Now, I know that can sound like a big company term. Supply chain management. It sounds like something a large manufacturer, international distributor, or companies with warehouses all over the country. But here's what I've seen. Small and mid-sized businesses often need supply chain discipline long before they think they need supply chain software. They may not call it supply chain. They may call it purchasing, inventory, warehouse work, shipping, vendor management, production planning, order fulfillment. But all of those pieces are connected. And when those pieces are not connected, your team becomes the coordination system. They check spreadsheets, they send emails, they walk back to the warehouse. They ask one person who knows where everything is. They manually update order statuses. They call vendors again. They apologize to customers again. That friction adds up, and quietly, it becomes expensive. Let me share an example to give you a better idea of how SCM software works. There was an appliance manufacturer and wholesale distributor that I worked with. They manufactured appliances, sold to dealers and distributors, and shipped from their own distribution centers. So they had outgrown their current SCM software, and they wanted to upgrade to a more robust system with extras. So for example, they wanted for purchasing as well as inventory management, vendor management. They wanted to be able to integrate that with finance, manufacturing, demand planning, sales, and their distribution centers. When a sales order was placed, they wanted to be able to validate that it could be fulfilled by that promised date, which meant they needed to be able to see what inventory was on hand. If part of the order needed to be manufactured, they needed to be comfortable that there was raw materials on hand to be able to produce the new units, and the manufacturing schedule could meet the order promise date. They wanted to understand the value of their inventory that they were carrying. They also wanted to be able to see that once an appliance was manufactured, that they could track it through the manufacturing plant onto the distribution center, and then from the distribution center through the shipping process until it arrived at the dealer. So basically, they also wanted to streamline their picking and shipping processes. They wanted to minimize the amount of inventory that they were carrying. They also wanted to be able to use AI to analyze their supply chain processes and generate insights that would allow them to better manage the process and to save money. So they wanted both core SCM functionality as well as some of the extras. So let's take a look at what core functionality is. SCM software helps a business plan, coordinate, track, and improve the movement of products, materials, inventory, supplies, orders, suppliers, warehouse, logistics, and production. In plain English, it helps answer questions like, what do we have? Where is it? Where do we need it? Who supplies it? When will it arrive? What customer orders depend on it? What needs to ship? What is delayed? What should we buy next? What can we trust? And the last question matters. What can we trust? Because when leaders don't trust the inventory, they don't trust the purchasing plan. And when they don't trust the purchasing plan, they don't trust fulfillment dates. And when they don't trust fulfillment dates, they are exposed to customer frustration. And when customer frustration grows, the technology issue has become a business issue. Actually, it was always a business issue. The technology just made it visible. When you evaluate SCM software, you want to think in 3 layers. First, what does the software need to do? Second, what size and complexity is your business today? And third, what support will the team actually need to make it work? Let's walk through those. Core functionality. The core functionality of SCM software usually includes inventory management, purchasing and procurement, order management, warehouse management, demand forecasting, supplier management, logistics and shipping, manufacturing coordination, and reporting. Now let's translate that. Inventory management means that you know what stock you have, where it is, and how it's moving. Purchasing and procurement means that you can manage vendors, purchase orders, approvals, and replenishment. Order management means customer orders are connected to fulfillment, shipping, and returns. Warehouse management means receiving, picking, packing, shipping, barcode scanning, bin locations, inventory movement are all handled with discipline. Demand forecasting means the system helps you anticipate what you will need instead of constantly reacting. Logistics and shipping connect your business to carriers, shipment tracking, freight, and delivery visibility. Manufacturing coordination may include bills of material, production planning, raw materials, and work orders. Reporting gives leadership visibility, not just dashboards, useful information that helps you make better decisions. Common additional functionality includes automation, alerts, approvals, shipment notifications, supplier scorecards, carrier integration, e-commerce connections, electronic data interchange, known as EDI, mobile warehouse tools, barcode scanning, handheld devices, lot tracking, serial number tracking, expiration tracking, audit trails, role permissions, and sometimes AI-supported forecasting or optimization. But I want to be specific. For most small and mid-sized businesses, AI is not a place to start. Clean inventory data comes first. Clear processes come first. User adoption comes first. Vendor accountability comes first. You can't optimize confusion. If the process is unclear, if the data is unreliable, if your team does not trust the system, adding advanced features will usually create more noise and chaos. Now let's talk about company size, because the right SCM software for a 15-person business may be completely wrong for a 150-person business. And this is where many leaders get into trouble. They either buy too small and outgrow the system quickly, or they buy too big and bury their team in complexity, and neither is good. So, for a business with 1 to 25 employees, SCM software should reduce the chaos and manual work. At this stage, you probably do not need an enterprise platform. You need something your team can use. Look for simplicity, ease of onboarding, affordability, inventory accuracy, purchasing visibility, quick implementations, barcode support, reorder alerts, basic forecasting, accounting integration, e-commerce integration, if needed, and mobile access. The key question is, can one person reasonably administer the system? Because in a small business, you may not have a dedicated IT person, a system administrator, or a full operations team. The owner, the office manager, the warehouse lead, or the operations manager may be wearing multiple hats. That changes what good software means. A powerful system that nobody has time to manage is not a good fit. Limitations to avoid at this size include heavy customization, complex workflows, poor support, or hidden implementation costs, expensive user licensing, or reporting that's hard to use. You should ask vendors questions like, how long does the implementation usually take for a company our size? Can one person administer the system? What integrations are included? Is barcode scanning built in or is it extra? What happens if internet access fails? What support is included after onboarding? Are inventory adjustments audited? For this size group, applications often worth considering are Zoho Inventory, Sin7 Core, Inflow Inventory. One person may do much of the administration, but that does not mean one person should hold all the knowledge. That is a support risk. If one person knows how to receive inventory, adjust counts, create purchase orders, or fix issues, your system is still fragile. Downtime matters here too. Even in a small business, if a system is down during a busy shipping day, the pain is real. Ask about uptime, backups, offline options, and recovery processes. Don't assume small means low risk. Now let's move to 26 to 100 employees. At this stage, the business usually has more moving parts. More people, more orders, more vendors, possible multiple warehouses, maybe manufacturing, or assembly. More finance involvement, more reporting needs, more operational pressure. At this size, evaluate for scalability, reporting, workflow control, integration maturity, warehouse efficiency, role permissions, and operational visibility. You can no longer just ask, can we track inventory? You are asking, can this system help different parts of the business work with the same information? That's a different question. Important features include multi-location inventory, advanced purchasing workflows, warehouse management, demand forecasting, approval workflows, role permissions, integrated shipping, manufacturing support, and stronger reporting. Limitations to avoid include systems built only for e-commerce, weak reporting, poor APIs or integration support, limited workflow automation, lack of audit trails, and vendor support bottlenecks. You should ask vendors, how does this system handle multiple warehouses? What reporting limitations exist? Are APIs included or are they extra? How are permissions managed? What implementation resources are required? Can we customize workflows without breaking upgrades? How does the system scale with transactional volume? And for this group, systems worth evaluating include NetSuite SCM, Fishbowl Inventory, Acumatica Cloud ERP. Implementation now becomes more serious. You may need operations, finance, IT support, warehouse leadership, and possibly an outside consultant. Data migration is not just importing a spreadsheet. It may include cleaning vendors, items, units of measure, warehouse locations, pricing, open purchase orders, open sales orders, historical data, and integrations. Training also changes. In a 15-person business, one person may do purchasing, receiving, inventory adjustments. In a 75-person business, those tasks may belong to many different people. This means the system needs role permissions, workflows, and support paths. Who can create a purchase order? Who can approve it? Who can receive inventory? Who can make inventory adjustments? Who can change inventory pricing? Who can override a shipping issue? Those questions matter. They protect the business. Downtime also becomes more critical. At this size, an SCM outage can stop shipping, receiving, warehouse work, or production. So review service level agreements, support response times, vendor stability, failover procedures, and escalation options. Now let's look at 101 to 250 employees. At this level, SCM software is not just a tool. It's a mission-critical infrastructure application. The business may require formal processes, dedicated administrators, cross-department coordination, advanced reporting, tighter security, multiple locations, EDI, supplier portals, transportation management, manufacturing coordination, and stronger analytics. At this side, you should evaluate operational scalability, process standardization, reporting maturity, integration depth, implementation support, security, compliance, vendor visibility, and long-term fit. Important features may include advanced warehouse management, forecasting and planning, manufacturing coordination, transportation management, EDI support, supplier portals, audit controls, analytics, workflow automation, and strong security roles. Limitations to avoid include entry-level systems, weak reporting, shallow security models, limited customization frameworks, poor multi-site support, and inadequate implementation help. So you should ask vendors, what companies similar to ours use this platform? What implementation timeline is typical? How are upgrades managed? What reporting tools are native? What third-party systems integrate well with this platform? What disaster recovery capabilities exist? What internal staffing is typically needed? So for this size group, systems to look at include Microsoft Dynamics 365 Supply Chain Management, SAP Business One, Infor Cloud Suite, Financials, and Supply Management. At this size, one person can no longer manage the system alone effectively. You need ownership. You need internal administrators. You need training processes. You need executive sponsorship. You need support. You need documentation. You need governance. That may sound formal, but here is the practical reason. If the system stops, the business stops. Production can stop. Shipping can stop. Procurement can stop. Warehouse operations can stop. Customer commitments can be missed. So criticality and downtime are no longer side issues. They are leadership issues. Here are the takeaways I want you to remember. First, SCM software is about coordination, not inventory. Second, the right system depends heavily on your company size, complexity, and internal capacity. Third, implementation is not a technical afterthought. It's where the project succeeds or fails. Fourth, one-person knowledge is a risk. As you grow, support and shared ownership matter more. Fifth, downtime becomes more serious as the system becomes more central to daily operations. And sixth, the best SCM platform is usually the simplest system that solves your current bottlenecks and can scale for the next 3 to 5 years. It's not the fastest, it's not the flashiest, it's not the biggest, it's not the one with the most features. It's the one your team can actually use to run your business better. So here's the action step for this week. Before you look at another SCM demo, write down the top 5 places where your supply chain processes create friction. Not the software features, the business friction. For example, delayed orders, wrong inventory, manual purchasing, too much tribal knowledge, disconnected systems, unclear reporting. And then ask the question, what would need to change for this part of the business to run with less confusion and more confidence? That is where your SCM evaluation should begin.
Thanks for listening to End Business Tech Frustration. If you enjoyed today's episode, subscribe or follow the show so that you never miss an insight. And if your business is struggling with technology that doesn't support your goals, connect with me on LinkedIn. I'd love to hear how technology is impacting your business, whether it's good, bad, or just downright painful. Remember, your technology should empower your people, strengthen your processes, and make your business thrive. If it's not doing that, I'm here to help you get your tech right and to get real value from it. See you in the next episode.